You're listening to the BFF Black Fat Femme podcast
on the iHeart Podcast Network.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Black Fat Femme podcast where all the intersections of identity are celebrated. I'm one of your hosts, John, also known as Dr. John Paul, and I just want to say I'm Doc Brown. Dark skin, light skin, beige.
Fluorescent beige.
Fluorescent beige. Bitch, I'm black. Happy Black History Month, niggas. How are you doing over there? All the niggas.
You forgot my name. You said, what's your name again?
Joe, I was about to say Chris because Chris is on my mind because I've been talking about Chris for the last minute. Chris, we love you, who is our editor. I was talking about Chris editing the show before we got on. But anyway, it's been a long day. But how are you, Joho?
Oh, no. What's my name?
What's up, my name?
Oh, bitch. Yes. Oh, no.
What?
I spilled something on my desk. I'm so sad about this, girl. Damn. You caught me in a real moment, bitch. In a real fucking moment. I always do this shit too. It's the same shit. Oh my God, it's so sorry. You're giving me the realest moment. I'm laughing
because you know what this reminds me of? What? It reminds me of the episode where that girl was screaming outside in the window and you were like,
oh,
you
girl.
Were like,
I was like, I'm so sorry. Be right back,
I am so sorry. You shut that window.
Woman. She had to go.
The way you shut that window had me screaming.
Family.
Because you were just like, I'm not in it today. I can't do it.
And I was having a beautiful day until this very moment in time. Family, it's your girl Jordan, aka Joho, and I done spilled my face serum, which let me tell you, bitch,
and it's not cheap. I'm sure
it's not fucking cheap,
bitch. Well, what are you doing with the? What did you put it on before you got on the camera?
No, I put it on in the morning, but I did. My dumbass had not screwed it in properly, I guess. And so I just went to pick it up and I said, oh, why is it oily on my desk? And now I see, and I'm so sad because I can't even try to save it. I couldn't even try to pour back in the thing.
I am so Tell me what it is and I'll send you a new bottle.
It is, John, it's so exclusive. You can't even tell me because they're not even out yet. Oh. It's called K-Dar. You can see it's all shiny because there's oil over it. Not our guest guy. It's called K-Dar. It's a black woman owned brand here in San Diego.
Black business of the week.
She's so amazing.
K-Dara.
She's amazing. It is a blood orange and bergamot. It's family owned. Her brother's a chemist.
Okay.
She's a marketer, brand guru.
Yes.
And so I've been talking about the farmers market and people who if anyone's like, girl, your skin's looking so good, it's because of K-Dara. They are fucking doing the damn thing. I'm not paid for this.
Yeah, we're not getting paid, but sponsor the show, K-Dara, but we definitely will put the link in the description box.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. So please find me a new one because I just poured out the gag is, John, this has happened to me several times.
You think you would learn?
You think you would learn. And see, thank God I'm pretty because I don't learn. I don't learn. I'm so sad. Anyways, y'all, I am ready. I'm not ready for life anyway. But happy Black History Month to all you people as well too. I'm not ready for this month to go by too fast, but I am ready to push people to think more about Black history and Black futures.
Amen.
And a still ever growing Black anti-Black political world, I need you bitches to get together. So that's what I would say. But also, y'all, if a white man wants to send me a K-Dara, please feel free to do so. That is the
if any of our white listeners
would
like to send us some reparations, today is a great day to always pay a nigga. So send us some cash, send us some money, send us some K-Dara. Send me. There is. I will say this right now. There is a bag on the Louis Vuitton site that I want. I know I could get it, but I don't want to use my money to get it.
I know that's right.
So if you feel it in your heart that you want to send the bag to me, hit me up and I'll send you the link. But anyway, with that being said, we have a guest in our third seat here today who is literally sitting in the background probably cracking up because they're like, what the fuck did I say yes to doing this?
So bad. We have such a serious, amazing guest that I'm acting a fool on this show right now.
And literally this is what they're walking into. But you know what? Y'all know what it is around here and y'all love us for it. This Queerties nominated. Now, let me explain something before I go into giving more of an update. This is a big deal because that means that the white gays have approved you. And so, with that being said, I am just I'm proud to know you.
So I don't know.
I'm proud to know you when the white
I don't know if
gays
we're proud
like
of that. I don't know if we're proud of the white gays.
I'm not proud of that. I'm just saying when the white gays like you, it means you're doing something right. With that being said, they are the Queerties nominated. They break down the most important social, political, and pop culture moments. I know when I get online and I see here's why Kevin, I see the post, I go, oh shit, something done happened because I know that Kevin has got the news first. A lot of their work is very clear, conscious, and it's very much focused on analyzing a lot of the systems that impact Black and brown folks, specifically Black and brown queer people. I am just very, very grateful that they said yes to being here on a whim, but also on top of that, just because of who they are and their platform. I just, we were going to have a deep conversation, and I said, I got to call in the big dog. So please give it up to Kevin, aka Here's Why Kevin. How you doing?
Hi, how are y'all?
Hi. I'm well. How are you?
I would just like to say, all the Caucasians to the
To
back.
the back.
To the back.
To the
Immediately.
back. Immediately.
Unless you got that Louis Vuitton money.
Look,
okay.
It is $3,315, and it'll probably be another $200 for tax. Okay. So go ahead and run me that good old $3,500
delivery as well. While
or you can just go ahead and book me for something, and then I can just pay for it out of my own pocket. But that'll be the way. If you want to book me for something,
that's right.
And then you can just say, "Oh, this will be how we make even on that." You can do that too. It's cool. But I'm so happy you're here, Kevin. How's your day going? How's life treating you?
Things are okay. It's kind of a slow news week, I'm going to be honest. So,
yeah.
Things have not been that bad. We haven't bombed anyone. Always grateful for that. We haven't shot anyone in the face that we know about. So, I'm chilling.
Let me know about,
Okay. Good. Well, not good that it's a slow news week because we do need that for our own rest. I know that the girls are fighting over rest being resistance right now, and we'll get to that in a couple weeks. We'll talk more about rest as resistance. But what I will say is I'm glad that it's not stressing you out and that you're not stressed out over everything. But with that being said, we are going to jump in our first segment of the show. Still here. This is where we celebrate Miss Tisha Campbell and say, I'm still here.
Yeah.
And yes, here. We are still, you know what, goddamn it, I'm gonna say it too. This week has tried to take me down, but I am still here, and I am so happy that I can say that. So with that being said, I wanted to continue the trend of glorifying fat over here. We talked about that last week. We're going to talk more about it this week. So this week, I'm going to ask a simple yet very complex and spicy question. I would love to know, what is the fattest thing that you have done that you're proud of? Mine. So I'll say this, and then Kevin, I'll throw it to you, and then we're gonna go ahead and go to Joho. Mine is part of my lore. So if you get to know me a little bit more, if you ever get to meet Edwina, who we talk about around here, this is my mom. She'll tell you this story. It's a whole story. It's a whole to do. But anyway, part of my lore. And I will be going more into that in my new book that will be coming out hopefully soon.
No, that's right. Come on.
But I will be going into that a little bit more. But the fattest thing I've ever done, and that I will do again, is I've ate an entire gallon of butter pecan ice cream in one sitting. Ooh. And bitch, I do it again. I will do it again because I can. I can also bust down an entire thing of Krispy Kremes and pecan pie. I can't do it now because Ozempic won't let me. But I can do it. I can if I wanted to.
The only reason that I kept a straight face is because I've never been good at either math or science. And I have ADHD, so I have time blindness and measurements and numbers mean nothing to me. So if you're like, I've lost 10 pounds, I don't know what 10 pounds look like. Like I'm 5'7", I don't know what being 5'7" looks like. So you said a gallon of ice cream, and in my head, you know that meme of that white woman doing math? I'm like, how much is a gallon? How much is a gallon? And then I realized how big a gallon was, and I was like,
bitch, yeah. You're like, wow, girl.
He said, again, that's a big girl.
That's that, and I bitch, I'd do it again. I would if I could, but I can't, so I won't. But what I will say is that in my heyday, before the good old before type 2 came knocking on my door, I used to be that girl that could just throw all the sugar back. But anyway, Kevin, have you given thought to what's the fattest thing that you're proud of that you've done?
I don't know if I'm proud of it. I don't know if I can think of like a singular. I can't really think of like a big example. I think just a
Mm-hmm.
consistent example. A lot of people don't know that like I have a 13-year-old, so like
Okay.
I have a 13-year-old son,
Mm-hmm.
and so like something that I know every parent does is that Halloween, just the second Halloween comes and they come home with all that candy, and I'm
Uh-huh.
just like, baby, you'll get one piece every couple days. I'll keep it away for you until he forgets about it because I ate it
Ate most of
on
it.
Halloween night.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm. I feel
I
that.
put him to bed and I sit on the couch and I put on a movie and it's gone.
I know
So
that's right. I
You
know that's right.
I think of that as reparations. That's
I'm
reparations for being a
protecting him
parent.
from himself.
Yes, yes. Uh-huh. Amen. Amen. I love that.
Okay, I love this
Yeah.
question, Kevin. I want to ask you, and it may sound shitty out loud, but it's not. Like, do you have you been a fat person before? Have you been one?
No, no.
Because but okay, no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, because
I want to hear how you're
because
qualifying
I
this.
was no because I was like this question is very like it's like very like inner sanctum. It's very like we're like we're like putting the curtain back behind
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
our like super fat ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I hope Kevin like is okay with this question because also like well Kevin's like, well like I'm not fat, so like can I say this? But like, also like you can't because it's our show, so you can say whatever you want to say.
Right, right,
But
right.
but also like just know like we're like we're like pulling you in, put you in close to us, because we're giving some like the lore I want to give. I would tell nobody this out loud. So I'm like, Heaven, you're a trusted confidant in this
You a
moment.
sister
Okay,
now, girl.
you
You
a
a
sister
sister.
now, girl. Okay.
Me
Yes.
and every other bitch listening to this podcast.
So
Yes.
don't now y'all
Yes.
go out spilling the fat tea in the world.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. That's why
Amen.
that's my qualifier in this. Or that's what I was asking. So okay, so the deep lore I have for me is a few years ago I was hanging out with my girl Christina and we got mad high as one
Okay.
does. We went to the store to get some snacks. We got a little apple pie for us. It was so cute. It was delicious. We're out here watching TV. We're playing the Switch, hanging out, and we heat the pie up. And like it's all gooey and shit. It's all steaming. Get some ice cream out, right? And so my eye has to bring it to the couch. And like the silly goose, clumsy bitch I am, I done tripped and dropped the pie on the
Mm,
floor. And
mm-mm.
I stared at it, then stared at her. She stared back at me. I stared back at her. We both stared at the pie.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
And I picked that pie up, put it right back in the aluminum tin. And I said, girl, we gonna eat this pie.
Yeah. Well. Oh
Because
well.
and listen, she had a shoes off household. I know she cleaned them floors, so I knew it was fine. I knew it was
Mm-hmm.
fine. And
Mm-hmm.
if anyone out here is like, you a nasty bitch.
No, because
Let me
people
tell
do it.
you,
No.
people suck dick. So who's a nasty
And
bitch
eat
now?
booty holes.
Oh, who is a nasty bitch
Look.
now? Okay.
Look.
So don't come for me for
If you
eating a
can
pie
eat
for 5 cents on the
ass, you
floor.
can pick up a piece of pie.
Oh, and baby, when I say baby, it wasn't a piece. It was the whole pie. I dropped the
Well,
whole
I'm just
pie.
saying, if
And I
you
said,
eat ass, you can pick up a pie and eat it. It is the same thing. I
eat that
think
in
about that a
quiet
lot.
comfort.
Look, I don't know. I'm gonna say this. I know we're going a little too long on this, but remember, did you hear that story about Gail, Oprah's friend?
Yeah.
I guess she said that she had a piece of pie delivered to her and someone bit it and like took a piece out of it. Yeah, and she said that she still ate it. And I was sitting there, and everybody was like, "Ew, Gail, why would you do that? Why would you do that, bitch? I would too. If I paid $12 for somebody to send me some pie, and I saw a chunk of it missing, I might. And it's late, and I know it may be hard for me to get another piece. Just cut the piece that they ate. What? I'm just saying.
You know what? I actually do the line of that part. I don't know where their mouth has been. I know who bit it. Was it the DoorDasher? Was it the person who cut the pie?
I think it was the DoorDasher.
I have a lot of questions about that.
Yeah.
Like
we have to find Gail and have her on the show to talk about it.
I'm fine with like my own chaos, but other people's
Okay.
chaos,
Other
that's a
people's
bit too
chaos, so
much.
maybe I've gone maybe too far. Did I go too far? Okay. Kevin's looking at me like, what the fuck did I get myself into?
I just
Yeah.
think Gail King is too rich to be,
T.
Because let's talk about it. Because Gail could have.
Because if you're broke and you're like, I just spent $12, but Gail King
Gail
makes like
can
$20 million a year.
Yeah, yeah.
Gail can find a pie shop from 300 miles away and have that shit delivered still and call that a good
Yeah. And
day.
isn't that
Like,
Magnolia place open really late anyway?
see, she was fine. And knowing Gail probably got something to make a pie for her. I don't know why
T.
she acting like she had to go get a pie delivered.
She could have had
Okay.
Oprah call the CEO and be like,
It's
"Send
like
me another
Open
pie."
yeah,
Send
open up the
send the
Cheesecake
pie.
Factory so we can
Exactly.
get you another piece of pie. Yes.
Exactly. Thank
Yes.
you.
Amen. Well, with that being said, while we take a break to double dash ourselves, if you know, you know, we will be back to talk politics with our sister Kevin. We'll be back in just a second.
Okay, fam, we are back, and this year we're going to discuss some actual serious stuff, not just goofy stuff with our good Judy Kevin. We're going to discuss everything related to what happened last week related to the silencing of freelance journalists Don Lemon, Georgia Fort, Jamel Adele Lundy, and Traherne Jean Cruz. We felt like it would be a good idea to get our good sis on the line to talk about it, mainly because we want someone who could really help us break down not just what happened, but what is actually happening if you get our gist. So, to start, I'd love to ask you what stands out to you, Kevin, about the circumstances around the arrest connected to all that is happening in Minnesota.
Um, so I mean, there's a couple of things. I think the Trump administration really loves distraction.
Mm-hmm.
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 And they're sort of they're backing themselves into a corner because they're using distraction so much that they have
Mm-hmm.
started to
Mm-hmm.
distract from one thing. So like they'll distract from like issue A by bringing up issue B, and then issue B will become such a hot mess that they have to go back to issue A. Like, they had to like release the Epstein files to distract from Minnesota, which but they went to Minnesota to distract from the Epstein files. So like it's
Yeah.
all just, it's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to this particular arrest, I think that if Don Lemon wasn't there, this wouldn't have happened.
No.
I
Mm.
think he was just an easy target, and everyone else was not that they wouldn't have been targeted. But I don't think it would be as high profile and that people would be talking about it as much.
Mm.
Um, and I also, I think that it's just really strange to watch the Trump administration try to litigate something that it feels like they haven't really made sense
Yeah.
of themselves,
Yeah.
because like
Real.
one of the things that they accused Don Lemon of is like standing next to the pastor that he was interviewing, and like
Mm-hmm.
standing next to him in a threatening way so he couldn't walk away. And I'm like, that's not against the law to ask someone questions. And there's just so
Right.
many. If the whole thing is like being in a church, there's so many examples of MAGA Republicans who have done this. Just
Right.
a couple
Right.
days
Yeah.
before this happened, Valentina Gomez, who's running for Congress in Texas, she ran a failed campaign for Missouri's. I believe she was running for Attorney General in Missouri, and she ended up coming in seventh place in the primary. So like
Mm.
she's trying to get people's attention, and like she stormed a church, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, okay, like let's just keep this consistent then. So I think it's a mess,
Mm.
and I don't think it's gonna go far. But it
Mm-hmm.
is an attack on free
Mm-hmm.
speech. It's an attack on free speech, because it's an attack on the free press, and it's also, they did arrest those organizers of that demonstration. So it's also an attack on the right to assemble and peacefully protest.
Yeah.
Um, and again, I know that there are some uh, legal experts who argue, well, the Trump administration may have some sort of, they may have a case if they're arguing that a church is technically not public property, but
Mm.
there have been cases in the past where courts have found that
Mm-hmm.
churches during operation, during worship, because churches are supposed to be open to anyone, that churches are, de facto public spaces if they're
Yeah.
open for worship because anyone can go in.
Mm.
But again, if your argument is about the protest, Don Lemon several times in his recording clarifies during the demonstration, we are not with these people. We are here documenting, and he says it over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't think that they have a case against these journalists,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And you speak to this, and I think this is a great segue into this next question. Attorney General Pam Bondi, or Bondi, is that how you say the last name? I'm making sure I'm clear.
Bondi.
Bondi, yeah, described the event as a coordinated assault on church. And I kind of related to the question, but it's also frustrating to me because it's like, um, for so many people who are so holy to be doing so many terrible things, it blows my mind because it feels like they're constantly looking for an opportunity to do something terrible to someone, but yet they're always purporting themselves to be so close to church and to Christ and all of that. It's a very interesting thing to me. But I definitely think about what Lemon's team called the arrest as being an unprecedented assault on free amendment, on the First Amendment. And I would love to get, your thought about how these competing narratives shape public opinion, specifically about journalists and journalism, and then maybe even thinking about like why should anyone be paying attention to all of this? Because I think that's the reason why we're navigating this conversation the way we are. I think a lot of people are just like, oh, it's just journalism, or it's just this, or it's just that, and I'm like, y'all do realize that this is a bigger deal than what, especially like, again, by the time y'all hear this, it'll be a week away. But even today, all of the folks being fired at the Washington Post, like that, there's something that's specifically happening to journalists and journalism, and I think we all should be paying attention. So, yeah, I would just love to know your thoughts on that.
Um, I have a couple of thoughts. One,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the Washington Post, I think that the public, when we engage with stories about like newsrooms going down, the public
Mm-hmm.
has to take some sense of responsibility for the fact that we do not support journalism, and by we I mean the general public. I subscribe
Mm-hmm.
to everything, and I know that there are folks who are like, the New York Times wrote this piece, so I will not subscribe. I'm
Right,
unsubscribing. Same
right,
with the Washington
right.
Post when Jeff Bezos wrote it, when Jeff
Mm-hmm.
Bezos acquired the Washington Post. But that is the reason newsrooms are expensive. They do not exist based on like Pulitzer prizes or social media posts. It is a lot to employ journalists around the globe, in war zones, and covering all these different verticals. Like, that's expensive. That is just, and
Mm-hmm.
people, it's been reported that the Washington Post has been losing money for quite some time. So that doesn't surprise me. And so I personally just wouldn't include it in this example,
Okay.
because I believe that there is a lot of attacks on journalism. I just think that the failure of the Washington Post is not one of them.
Oops.
It just,
Okay.
it just, I think that it is, a result of the way that over the last 10 years, Trump has repeatedly attacked journalists and has
Okay.
attacked newsrooms and said, people can't trust them. And so we've seen a dip across the board in America in how people engage with the news and with journalists and mainstream media, so called, MSM.
Mm-hmm.
People, again, have retracted their support. They don't subscribe, they don't give their dollars, so the newsrooms are struggling. So I would say that it is a byproduct of the attacks on journalism,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
these mass layoffs are not necessarily an attack on journalism themselves.
Okay.
Um, but when it comes to the attack on journalists by the Trump administration and why people should care, is because so much of what we know is, again, they went after independent journalists.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
much of the news that people get is because of independent voices like Don
Right.
Lemon, like Midas Touch, like myself, people who are able to
Mm-hmm.
work, on their own, trying to get the facts straight to the people. And so when they are no longer just rhetorically attacking established institutions, but are also attacking independent voices, I think
Mm-hmm.
people should be scared.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm like processing that and holding this, like, this idea that you're saying earlier, like they had been administration trying to make a point, like trying to make a point out of this, right? Like they're trying to instigate a circus, or trying to like make folks like Don Lemon an example of like what could happen to them if they strive to if they strive to like to do
Show the truth. Yeah.
journalistic work and show
Yeah.
the truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
I find that so. I just it's really heartbreaking because I think you know people are divesting from media in this very specific way, and they're beginning to they're the media that they're getting now is going to be media more likely from creators, content creators, influencers. And we have a question like a bit later about that, but I find it interesting and sad because they want truth and they want trustworthiness and authentic reporting,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
they don't want that if it doesn't align with them at all. And so I struggle a lot with it because folks are like the same people who say that they want the best from New York Times are the same folks that actually still keep posting about the New York Times or posting New York Times, not recognizing that they actually are posting the New York Times or they're posting this person's article that they wrote on the New York Times, or they're posting from insert like
The
dark
Guardian.
web like
Oh,
well
not
no
the
no no,
Guardian.
no.
Okay.
I was like insert dark web lib
Oh,
talk
okay.
person,
Never
right?
mind. Yeah.
Right, and like that will be their vision or version of truth. And so it's just sad seeing how the administration is really playing a calculated game of how it tells you what is good what is or is not good media, and media now also being people independently, but also there's a difference between like an independent journalist who has a background training and folks who are just who may just post stuff for like clickbait. We all see clickbait a lot too. So I'm just like what you said, Kevin, made me think of a lot of different things. But I'm also curious to engage the idea of how race play a role in this. I mean, race plays a role in everything.
T.
And so, want to know what are your thoughts around what this suggests about race and power that Black journalists and Black community activists were arrested in connection with the same protests. While to your point, you made like it's not illegal to ask someone questions, but if you have, let's say, a white journalist covering a similar event, they likely aren't going to get arrested or face charges. What part of this do you think people should be like alarmed for?
Um, what I would say is that race plays a role in this situation, but I don't think in the way that people think it does.
Mm.
Mm,
So I think
Go ahead,
that first
Pastor.
of all,
Mm-hmm.
like I mentioned before, I don't think that this would have gotten the media attention that it did if Don Lemon
Mm.
wasn't involved.
mm-hmm,
Um, so the day that Don Lemon was arrested, which was this past Saturday, since the day that we're recording, when Don Lemon and Georgia Ford and Jamel and all these folks, when everyone was arrested, we got their names sort of here and there until Pam Bondi put out a full statement. And so I was posting, every update of all the individuals who were arrested with
Mm-hmm.
photos of them. And it
Mm-hmm.
just kept being another black person and another black person. And
Mm-hmm.
later that afternoon, I shared a video of a man in a parking lot. He was actually in front of the federal building in Minneapolis, the Whipple building where ICE has been detaining American citizens. And he was out there sort of standing watch with other people,
mm,
and a bunch of FBI agents came and arrested him on camera. This is a white man. His name was Austin, and he is an army veteran. And he was also at that protest. So
mm,
if you actually go and look at the
Mm-hmm.
documents from this case, I believe the indictment has like a dozen people on it, and I
Mm.
think like the five people we know about are black, and like the other ones are not, or like a handful are not black. So there are non-black people who have been
mm.
implicated and indicted as
Mm.
well. But
Just
I
the
think
media took the black stories and ran with them, basically.
I don't think that that's the case. I think that
Okay.
voices like ours will continue to uplift those stories because we know that
Yeah.
marginalized people face the harshest punishment and
T.
the unfair treatment. So
Mm.
there is a instinct for me when I see that a black person has been implicated in something or a brown person has been implicated
Mm-hmm.
in something to make sure that I make that as loud as possible.
Yeah.
So I always, the news that I cover on my platform is pretty widespread, but in my mind, and my audience who's like not black may not even realize it, every story to me in my head goes through this like checklist of I'm like, is this important to my audience, who in my head, my target audience are black and brown folks first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I would say that it played a role in the way that it made mainstream news, but also I think that the targeting of independent journalists who are also black is important here, because whenever you try to suppress people's right to something, you want to
Mm-hmm.
start with the group that you assume will have the least amount of sympathizers. So you're going to go
Mm-hmm.
after black queer folks first and see if people actually react to that. Because what you hope is that you get away with ripping rights away from people
Mm-hmm.
or treating them unfairly, and by the time
Yeah.
people react, their rights have already been taken away too. So I
Yep.
think it is very intentional to start with a Don Lemon when you decide that you're about to start attacking, people's First Amendment right
Mm-hmm.
in a pretty blatant way.
Yeah.
So I think that that's how. But again, I do want to stress it, because I think that Donald Trump and his administration are a threat to everyone, that this is happening across the board. I know I have friends who are, non-black, and they're they're getting like, checked when they I had a friend who went to go get her passport, and
Mm.
like they told her like, you're not in the system, you can't get a passport. This person happens to be like a big creator, and so I think that they are going to come for everyone, but it is
Yeah.
clear that race plays a role in who they go after
Come
first.
from for. Yeah. And I think
Mm,
that's kind of in the same way. Everyone keeps asking the question, well, why is this administration so big on harping on trans folks and, specifically black trans folks? And I've been saying, kind of to your point, Kevin, like they know the world kind of sees black trans people, specifically black trans women, as, dismiss they what's the word I'm looking for? They're expendable, in a lot of people's minds, right? They're very expendable, no, quote unquote. And I don't say this because I believe it, but the world sees it as, oh, no one's going to care. And I think that's the reason why they've been going after trans people the way that they've been going after them. And so, to your point, I think it's, I don't want to posit this conversation as being like, oh, we're on some conspiracy shit and everybody needs to be scared and everybody needs to be worried. No, what we're saying is kind of paying attention to what's happening and how it's happening, so that way we can continue to amplify and speak up and be aware of those who are going to be impacted. Because while they're coming after Don Lemon, and this is where my mind was when I threw this out as a possible conversation for us, they're coming for the Don Lemons. I'm thinking about the Jarrett Hills, and I'm thinking about other independent journalists who I know are on the ground trying to do their due diligence to get these, not only just get their stories out, but also get the larger stories out. And I'm thinking about it, what they're really trying to send a message, or at least in my mind, they're sending a message of, we want independent journalists, regardless of race, to be so afraid to cover anything that's happening in the US, that they obviously do something else, or take another direction in the stuff that they're focused on. And so yeah, it's just it's a very interesting time. I guess the question that I did want to ask, kind of to that, is, I guess for me, I've always wanted to kind of know, or at least your take on press freedom, and how journalists now often work as freelancers or independent. I know, I'm trying to think of his name because I can see his face, but I can't say it. What is his name? He's actually related to my friend Corrice, and he's also a journalist who has a very big following. I think he might have been on CNN for a quick time. He's queer. What is his name? Who are we talking? He's skinny, black, African American.
Jamal Jordan. Is it Jamal Jordan, or is it
No,
is it
I can see his face and I can't say it.
I think I know his name as well. I just
Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But all that to be said, I think about
Shout
him.
out to that man.
Shout out to
shout out to that journalist, honey. I know, and I love him.
Happy Black History Month to him.
Yes, happy Black Queer History Month to you, honey, because you're queer history.
The
honey.
Listeners may not know who you're talking about, but the ancestors do.
No, I guess the question that I want to ask you is, what does it mean for press freedom that journalists now often have to work as freelancers because many of them are getting let go? Or even having to work independent without the legal and institutional backing of a large news organization. And then I think also on top of that, like I know that you've made mention that you see yourself as a creator who is just very socially aware of everything. And so with you kind of making that distinction, what is the importance of finding someone you trust to deliver news to you, regardless of if they're a journalist or a creator, et cetera, et cetera?
I think I should start with your last question and then work my way back. So what I'll say is I'm not a creator. I'm a writer and I'm a citizen, reporter. And I clarify that I'm not a journalist because I just think that there's a certain amount of professional training that journalists go through. There's a certain amount of rigor, and there are ethics codes and editorial standards that exist that I don't have to comply with. I've never had to because I work for myself. Here's why Kevin is just Kevin. And I really respect the industry and the profession. I've wanted to be a journalist my whole life, and so I'm working my way up to be able to call myself that. But I don't. As far as trusting places to get your news from, the biggest thing is sources. Like that is and people who do not filter the news that they give you, with overt opinions. Excuse me, because I don't believe that there's such thing as unbiased news. It doesn't exist. Everything is biased. The story you choose to cover, how you phrase it, the photo you use, the headline you write, all of those choices are made with, an unconscious bias that you cannot get away from. It's not real. So it's about making sure that people are giving you the facts straight. I think you have to, really have some discernment in who you choose to listen to, and find people who are just giving you facts and not people who are like trying to do explainer videos where they give you the full thing, just like, because that's not, you can't go off of that. Go read the source material. Go read. People need to start doing the reading. It's okay to read. Our parents used to read the newspaper. Like it's okay to read. So I would say trust the sources who encourage you to go off their page for more information. Every post that's on my page has at least one, two, sometimes three sources cited at the bottom. So that my audience, if you don't have the time, I hope that my post gave you as much information as you need to get the gist of it, so you know what's going on. But if it's a story that's really important to you, you don't have to leave a comment, wait for me to respond. I told you where to get, all the info.
Yeah.
She said, "I told you where to go, girl."
Yeah. Because people comment and they're like, "What about?" And I'm like, "You click the caption. It's in the caption. The story is in the caption." People think that the headline is a story. I I don't understand. Anyway,
niggas don't read.
I think there's some psychology there, but I
headline culture, like headline culture and like clickbait culture is so insane.
Yeah.
Because I know you mentioned clickbait before you, someone said it. My favorite is when people will leave a comment and they're like, "This headline is clickbaity." I'm like, everything online is clickbait. We want you to click. Yeah, I wanted you to click on this. Read the damn caption. As far as what it means that journalists have to work independently, I think that I think that we are unfortunately watching um, capitalist greed take over our information ecosystems, and people are having to respond. The Ellisons of the world who are taking over the Paramounts and Skydance and CBS News, and the Jeff Bezos with Washington Post. It's a lot, and I think we're in the middle of a transition. Like I said before, I think that Donald Trump and his anti-journalism, anti-media rhetoric for all these years has
Mm-hmm.
really it eroded trust in a way that forced people to just find new ways to share information.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we are literally right in like the middle of that transition. And I think in a couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
several years from now, we'll end up in a whole different, information ecosystem, and we'll in a new media landscape. I'm actually writing my first book about it right now, about how, we've changed the news online. I think that the position that I'm in, where like I'm not a Midas touch profile, like I don't have 2.7 million followers, and I'm not like employing a team of people, but I'm not no
Mm.
one.
Right.
Yeah.
I reach 300 million people a month. So like, I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm in a unique position where I'm like watching an industry that I've wanted to be a part of my entire life shift
Mm-hmm.
in a major way, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm sort of caught in the middle of it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's real.
But I think
That's real.
things change.
Mm-hmm. And I love that you say you're not nobody because like I said, I'll be looking at your stuff and getting my information from there too. So yes. Yeah.
People
It-
stop me in the most random places, like someone the other day, I was like, I'm not even I was pulling my underwear out of the dryer at the laundromat, and someone's like, by the way, thanks for your work. I was like,
Yes, yes. Brother said,
it's so funny.
bitch, I'm
they're like,
worldwide. Yes, yes.
they're like, love the underwear, love your work. Thank you so much for all that you
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
do.
Thank you for being, so
I
fresh and
think
so
you
clean.
you really
Mm-hmm.
bring a really great point about the changing ecosystem because one thing that was big this past what I'm trying to remember what it was, but it was like I think it was like either during the GOP or the primaries or the election process or possibly like a White House event, but they're starting to invite conservative creators to be part of the experience too,
Mm-hmm.
so they can deliver their news. And I appreciate you, Kevin, for delineating writer versus creator, and I'll name that is totally. I was one who would put that question because I was really curious about it, so I appreciate you naming I'm not a creator, I'm a writer, and differentiating, distincting that
I
there's a difference
and it's not
between
I'm
that
not
as
like
well too.
offended. I'm not like offended by that title. I
Right.
just like, to me, like creators are like the
It implies also
people
been a little
who
different.
they like I just imagine like these creators who, like, no shade to them, like meet politicians and then do like dance challenges with them. You're never
Yeah.
gonna see me do that.
No, that's
I
so.
never
I think that's such
I'm
that's
just
such a fair
not.
point. That's such a fair point. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
She said, "You're
That's
not
such
getting
a
no content out of me. I'm not doing nobody's TikTok
well,
dance."
and
I
I
know
think
that's
it, and
right.
you, and I think it demonstrates right. Like you name that like at present you aren't quote unquote a journalist by like technicality, but you aspire to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And also like I really hope that you're able to accomplish that for yourself as well too.
And also the link
Um,
at the book too. I saw that you
and
sent off what
and
you needed to
and
send
the
off.
book
So I'm
too.
proud of you.
But I think like it's obviously very clear that you uphold yourself to a like what some could say a journalistic standard, and that the
Mm-hmm.
integrity of truth is important to you, and like delivering a news story is important to you, and really like giving facts for people. And I think you have positioned yourself to be someone that people trust to get their information delivered. And I appreciate that you give your links to for people because that's really important to me with my background in journalism. And so it's important to me that people always have more than one source, and that they can just say like go read the other things, like here is my understanding of the facts, and also go read these things. So I really appreciate that from you a lot. I'm curious to ask you, just like in this moment, as we go back into this case, because what's been really interesting for people, and I don't think people realize, is that the defense against Don Lemon is like is using the FACE Act, which is like it's like freedom accessing clinics, and so which for those who don't know was put into law, particularly for to protect folks who were trying to access abortion clinics. But also, there's a clause in that
Mm.
is about so it's like you can't interfere with someone trying to get access to abortion clinics. But also, there's a clause in there, or there's another law in there that is saying you can't interrupt or interfere with someone exercising their religious freedom. And so and so the case against Don Lemon in this moment is saying that he and the protesters went in to disrupt someone exercising someone's religious freedom. the layer on top of that is that the pastor there, is an ICE agent as well, if I'm not mistaken. And so I'm curious to ask you, like, how, Sean, you're like, ugh. I'm
I'm
curious to
just
ask
sick
you.
of it. I'm sorry. I'm just
Well,
so sick of it.
I think when it brings up really interesting conversation around, like, I mean, obviously people can hold multiple jobs all they want, but like what an interesting thing that, like you make your identity this you make your identity, one part of identity is like pastoral work, and I imagine preaching unity for everybody, and then your other identity is literally breaking up people like from their homes. And so I'm curious to ask, like, how might you see this play out? How, like, given your attention to detail, given your the pulse you have on how
Hmm.
news works, and how the matters behind, like, laws are working. How might you see this playing out? How might you see the courts balancing, the claims about safety or religious rights against the public's right, to, to press on issues like immigration enforcement?
Mm.
I have an unpopular opinion on how this is gonna go, because a lot of people think that this is bullshit. That the whole case is bullshit. I think
Mm-hmm.
that the case against particularly Don Lemon and Georgia Ford, I think that those cases are bullshit. I see those charges against them being tossed out by a judge. I do.
Hmm. Hmm.
The rest of the so as far as the journalism part goes, I
But
don't
the
think
actual
that this
organized
is going to hold
protest,
up.
you
But I
think?
do think that
Mm,
there is a chance that we will see the indictment against these organizers go to trial.
Mm.
And I do believe that it will end up in front of the Supreme Court.
Mm.
Now, what they will, what kind of penalty or jail time or anything like that they might be facing. I'm not a legal expert, so I'm not sure.
Right.
But
Right.
just based on doing the reading, again, there is an argument that churches are not public spaces. That your
mm-hmm,
First Amendment right to peacefully organize does not include a church. There's an argument for it. Do
Hmm.
I agree with that? Not necessarily, but I do. But you know what I mean? Like that doesn't mean that they can't go to court and argue over it. That is where that argument would take place. So I
mm.
do think that this is going to be another one of those. I think that this is going to be a landmark Supreme Court case. But
Interesting.
again, I think
Interesting.
that this is
Okay.
2029. We'll get a decision.
Yeah.
Mm.
Lord knows it takes years for things to go to the court in the first place.
Yeah.
I do, but it's a really good point. I do wonder if part of the conversation is redefining what's a public space or not.
Mm.
Um, because yeah, I haven't. I mean, I don't go to church at all, so I've never thought about church as a public or a private space whatsoever. But I
Right.
find it super super interesting that is part of the discussion as well. Um, thank you, Kevin. Thank you. All right, fam. Now that we have reminded you that journalism is in fact not a crime,
Child.
but we're finding that maybe some things around it may be as well. More on that in the future. We're gonna take a quick break, and come back with more show in a sec.
All right, y'all. So, speaking of duality, we are switching gears and diving into Grammy chat. And I will say this at the top before we jump into our what's popping this week. I was bored. I found the Grammys to be very boring outside of, and maybe that's just my age. I am a very swift 40. And so I found myself being like looking around like an old grandpa, like who is
Who are
this?
all these
What
people?
what are they doing? Why what are they talking about? What are they singing? I know some of the dolls, like the girls who perform gnarly. I'm familiar with Cat's Eye. I'm trying to keep up with them. That Addison Rae character, I felt that was probably the
I
most
could not tell
lackluster.
you if that's a Diet Pepsi bitch or the bitch who does the splits, and like they're the same girl to me.
It
I
was
could not
not
tell
clocking
you.
to me that I was standing on business. Like I genuinely was like, it's not clocking to me who this girl is. So with that being said, as soon as Kevin said that they'd come on, I said, okay, we're gonna talk shop. but we're also going to talk shit. And the thing we're going to talk shit about is the Grammys, because obviously it was a week away, but I wanted to make sure that we took time to process. And so with that being said, I just want to know y'all's take. Was there anything you loved? Anything you wanted to toot or boot? The thing I will say that I did want to toot is the Olivia baby. What's her name?
Olivia Dean.
Olivia Dean. So it's taken me a moment. That Olivia baby, because I don't know her name. Olivia Dean. Now, so I will say this, and I did go on record to say this, and folks got me together. Behavior. I thought that she was the same baby who was singing that song about "Where's My Husband?" And I said, why does she got all these pick me songs? And then I realized that she's a very separate person. So her and Ray are two different people. Ray sings the "Where's My Husband" song, and Olivia Dean sings the song about the man I need. Because I was like, why is all her music pick me music? But then I realized they were two separate people. So all that to be said.
Let me be clear, none of those songs are pick me songs, and I will stand on business for it. None of them are pick me songs. The lyrics give pick me. The title give pick me, but the lyrics.
I'm waiting on my husband to come find me, and my life will be so much better. Girl.
That's not
stand up. Stand up. Stand up. But anyway, to move things along, I will say, love that Olivia Dean used her first opportunity on a stage to say fuck ICE. The fact that she is a brand new artist, or at least brand new to me, and the fact that she's gotten an award, and like the first thing she says is fuck ICE. It's a big fucking deal. Shout out. I also want to say shout out to my friends who also were nominated and won for Sinners. My friend Lydia Renee, and I have a few other friends who were on that soundtrack that will be getting medals for their work with Sinners. So shout out to them. Bad Bunny. I think about this a lot, and I was going to say this online, but I can say this here because I don't think too many people will. I always think about that man who got to kiss Bad Bunny, and I'm still thinking about that. How jealous I am that I was not that man on that stage that day. Duran Bernard. Congratulations, girl. And Kalani, get your things because you deserve them. All of them are my big shout outs. Aaliyah Sheffield, I also want to shout out. She also co-wrote some stuff with Duran Bernard on their album, and is also Grammy winner now. So it's just really cool that some of the people that are in my circle that I have seen hustling for the last few years in the music industry are finally starting to get their time to shine, and I'm just really, really happy. My boot, so we can do it that way. Two, the things you love, the things you want to boot, we can boot. My boot, I need Sabrina Carpenter to come a little harder on her next album. I loved Short and Sweet. So then when we got to this album, I was like, ooh, girl, what is this? Like, it didn't give what it needed to give. And so every time she lost, I was like, well, girl, like, you did it to yourself. Like, the singles you put out weren't good. Like, the album didn't do anything for me. So, it just wasn't giving Grammy winner to me. But anyway, Kevin, what are your thoughts? Did you have any thoughts? Do you care about the Grammys?
I love the show. You know what's so interesting is that I love award shows just in general. So like every award show, I have to make some sort of disclaimer to my audience because I don't want people to they're like, what the fuck just happened to this guy? I always post, I'm like, hey, it's Sunday and it's award show season.
Yeah.
Sunday nights we take a break from all the series, and I post the things that I have enjoyed, and usually it's just celebrating either queer, Black, or Latino people that happen to win historic wins. So I always watch, and I'm always recapping them on Threads. This Grammy show, I agree, was pretty boring, and I found myself asking who people were. So I was like, oh my god, I'm so old. And one of my friends on Threads was like, "Girl, we're old. We have to wait for the Lifetime Achievement Award. That's our category now." That's how why was the D'Angelo in Memoriam the best part of the why were we dancing in the living room? Why were
it was.
There's an in memoriam, and people were lit at the end, and I was like, "Yo, this is a mess."
Yeah, it's us. It was our music. That's why it was all of our artists that was celebrating him. So like we knew who those names were. I
I
still don't know
loved
who that man was who was in the sky. There was a man who was singing in the sky. I have no idea who
the
the
white
fuck he
man.
is.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, so as far as like the performances go, I would say that the In Memoriam to me was the best performance
Mm-hmm.
of the
He
night.
was.
Um, and I loved seeing how many artists they got to bring out. I'm confused why Kehlani wasn't there. That really upset me that she wasn't
Mm-hmm.
included.
Yeah.
Especially so like just a quick aside. I
Mm-hmm.
always watch the premiere show because all the black winners are in the premiere show.
Mm-hmm.
All the
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
gospel winners, all the R&B
Mm-hmm.
winners, all the hip hop winners, they're always in the premiere show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like during the actual Grammys, they only give away about 14 awards, and there's actually like 112. So the premiere show always is much longer than the actual Grammy show, and
Yeah.
it takes
Mm-hmm.
place in the same arena, but they do like a whole early show. And I hate that they don't invite the nominees from the pre-show to the
Mm.
actual
The
ceremony
actual show.
because
Mm.
Yeah.
because I'm like, Kehlani is a Grammy winner now,
Yeah.
and she's home posting pictures already while the show is still going on. Like y'all couldn't give her a seat. That upset me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, so I wish that she was there. I love seeing people like Lucky Day included. I love Lucky Day.
Oh, Lucky Day is so
Mm.
But yeah, the
good.
performers were pretty boring to me. Especially, I think that we need to drop first. We need to drop the best new artist thing that they started doing about 2 years ago. I don't need
Mm.
all of them to perform.
Oh,
Oh,
like
that's what they
the
so they
whole
have
like
all the
medley
best new
thing.
they do
Yes, they
like
have
that
all those
thing where they
samples of their
all
so
perform.
songs.
they
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Right.
literally what they do now is they just take like three general three of the performers who are nominated for the big awards, which is usually like record and song of the year, and they
Mm-hmm.
ask them to perform, which is why we had those performances, and then they do best new artist and then whatever tributes they have. Those are the only performances. Bitch, I want the biggest numbers. I want like
Yeah.
Kaylani should have been on stage doing Folded. What are we doing? This is so
Mm-hmm.
silly to me.
Yeah, it was definitely a
So
missed
We
opportunity
need
for
the
sure.
Ashanti
better.
in the water singing "Rain on Me." That's what we need. We need Ashanti. Where is
Yeah.
Yes.
Ashanti? Mm-hmm.
Like we used to have
Yes.
Beyonce pregnant tipping
Yes.
over in a chair, risking her
Oh,
life,
yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
We've had some
but
performances
Mm-hmm.
on the Grammys, and this was
We
not
have.
yeah.
one of them
This
this
year was
year.
But as
definitely
far
not
as
one of the years.
boots would go, I would
Boo.
say I would say it's just the best new artist performance. The Bad Bunny moment. Me and my friends were here, and because we're on the East Coast, it was like
Mm-hmm.
11:30 at night. We've been watching. We're so tired. We're like, damn, how long is this gonna drag on? I'm so happy because when I tell you, it was just a room of people. I was just crying. Like it meant
Mm.
so much to watch him win that award.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that was the biggest moment to me.
That was me
Mm.
last year. I'm not gonna hold you when Beyonce won for the country. I think everybody in my complex heard me screaming because just kept screaming yes, like fine, like I
Yeah.
felt so that's the reason why I was so happy when Bad Bunny won because I was like that same emotion that I had for Beyonce, I knew my peers were gonna have for Bad Bunny. And when he was sitting there and he was rubbing his eyes, I was like, I feel it. Like
I
I know
felt
what
bad
that
that he didn't
means for
have his
you.
people next to him.
Yeah, that
He was
sucks.
he
Yeah.
all his people were backstage waiting for him
Yeah.
because he had
Mm,
just won an award earlier.
uh-huh.
And so there's
Yeah.
a video of him when he walks off stage. All his friends are like there, and I was like, damn, that's kind of so you have to like go through that by yourself.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mm.
But it was so cool to watch. What about you,
Yeah,
Joe?
So I didn't get a chance to watch the full show. I just saw some highlights and speeches from winners.
Yeah.
And I have to say, like seeing Duran get his flowers for Bloom, which I think is very kismet that like he got flowers for his album Bloom,
Yes.
was everything. Obviously, I've been a Lonnie stan since day one, since being a Bay Area bitch.
If
So
there's one thing I know about my sis, I know that.
seeing her getting their flowers was
Mm-hmm.
everything. Seeing their speeches, everything. I love. First of all, you take the girl out of me. You take Oakley on the girl because she said she'd take a shot out of the Grammy. I said that's my girl right there. That's my girl right there. But also her making a point to say fuck ICE as well too. And I really appreciated like so much of that from people.
Yeah.
I love seeing the clip of Kilani and Duran congratulating each other.
Yes.
That was really special. I lived to see it. I was like, this is giving Black Queer joy. This is so dope. I think Debbie Te Damas Fotos was so deserved for album of the year. Like I think like musically is an album about nostalgia, reclaiming the present, resisting colonization and assimilation. And I think like it was so well deserved. And I'll say I can't and won't speak on like the impact it actually has for Latina communities, but like just like for me to receive it, like from my receiving from it, I know it was a really incredible moment, and I really appreciated his speech as well too. I really like it was really moving to say like this is for all the people who had to leave their homeland
Mm.
to
Mm-hmm.
come chase their dreams, but also to a point of how right in the album there is a song about Hawaii that he makes connections between Puerto Rico and Hawaii of like remember this place
Colonization,
where
everybody,
with
yeah.
colonization, assimilation, and like people right now are terrorizing, not terrorizing, but people are traveling to Hawaii and Puerto Rico more and more for tourism. Terrorizing is not the best word to use. Although that's why I feel. That's
Well,
why I feel about it because I'm like you aren't going to actually like support the locals. You actually aren't going to like support the culture. You're going to just like have fun and dance to Bad Bunny all the time. So like you have to do something more than that. I really was moved by it. I'm so happy for Olivia Dean for Best New Artist. I love her. I love her music so much. I think like I love everything that she does. And I appreciate her speech as well too. I think my boots were some of the speeches as well. Like I was impressed with Billie Eilish. Like I think I'm at a point where I'm actually
that whisper lady.
well, it's just like I'm at a point where like I'm done hearing everyone say like no one's legal on stolen land. Like yes, we like yes, and also like what are you doing about that, Billy? Like
Mm-hmm.
Kehlani has been out there. Like Kehlani has been out there online and in person
Has
doing shit.
has.
Billy, like yes, Billy called out billionaires. I think like sometime last year and was like, "You all have money, you should be doing more." Yes, yes, yes. But I was like, Billy, like, what do you like? It's giving like the white
Performative.
person like the white person who says it and like it's given like the white person who's like let's do a land acknowledgement and I'm like okay sure yes but what are you doing for the fucking land and the people who are on the land
Honey the
like
land.
honey the
Honey the
land
land.
like just give me more than that like I just I
Yes.
I was just like okay Billy like work diva everyone says that in every Zoom call we have at work so like what are you doing to like make people not to like make people not like not get stolen from the land as well too. So I was just like that was kind of bothering me. Interesting thoughts about Shabuzi because people have
Yeah.
thoughts on
So I
Shabuzi's
didn't.
speech as
I'll
well.
say that I did not. I did not take his speech the way everyone else took his speech, and I get it. I
Yeah, yeah,
understand.
yeah,
I understand what what's the word I'm looking for. I understand the way people responded. I get
yeah.
it. But when I heard it, I was like, I don't know why we're making this a thing. Like he's
You know, like
I don't know.
I think like I understand and feel the point of like you have a black artist who could also make a point about it being Black History Month and like right because I think it's on the first day of Black History Month
I
and that if
guess.
you're making a point about how the country was built that the enslaved black folks were also part of that too
Hmm.
and part of me is like I mean he's speaking to a moment that's existing right now
Right.
which is like the constant attack like I mean but I don't know it's like I too understand why I don't have an issue with the speech at all. Like I think the speech was fine.
I,
And I understand people's friction with the speech as well
I too. I
too.
too. I do too.
And I'm
But
like, you know what? Yes, like
we got other
I
fish to
wish we could
fry.
hold room for both. Like
Yeah.
like 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 Kimmy say his speech was really nice. And also yes, we wish that maybe he also talked about the black experience as well too within that because in the day like even enslaved folks were immigrants too, and for and forced to be immigrants in the
But can
country.
I also say that some people don't have the range to talk about? And so, not trying to say that he's stupid, but what I'm saying is he may not have the lexicon to fully be able to vocalize that. And that's what I think people are
I think it
missing.
could have. I mean I really think it's more. I think it really think it was just more about like he was just speaking to the direct moment right now,
The
and
moment for him,
I
yeah.
think that's totally appropriate
Hmm.
personally.
I just want to. I think that the issue with Shabuzi, I think words matter to a lot of people, and
Okay.
Yeah,
I think in this moment when the attention is being put on immigrants and immigration and the way that people are being mistreated in this country, it's important to talk about that. But I think sometimes for some people talking about again, like you said, this current uh, this issue that's at the forefront right now, the way that people talk about it is by taking away from the contributions of Black people,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
so
And
to overlook the forced labor of Black enslaved people, I think
Yeah.
is what bothered me. Because to say, I think again, if he had said immigrants helped us to build this country, that's a different sentence. But to say
yeah,
Yeah.
immigrants built this country is
yeah,
just
People were like,
historically
whoa, 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 whoa,
inaccurate.
whoa. Yeah.
And then also, there are people who are like, oh, but like enslaved Black people were not from America. It's like, okay, but those are also not immigrants. Like my ancestors
Mm-hmm.
were not immigrants. My ancestors were enslaved people. They were
They were
not.
forced to be
they,
here.
they
Yeah.
did not. Immigration is not the same as
Mm-hmm.
enslavement. So I
I
just think
I
I
hear
think he
you.
should have been specific, and I think that it was just a because I think it was beautiful when he was talking about his mother being an immigrant, and then I
Mm-hmm.
think he went off the rails.
Yeah.
mm,
And it's also the moment. I also tell people to, like, if you've never been, and again, I'm not making an excuse for Shabuzi. I want to make that very clear that I'm just saying for me in the moment I'm going, and I think maybe I'm just too nice and I'm trying to see the nuance in it all. But also too, like, you're in a very stressful moment. Like like if you've never had 1,000 people looking at you. Like I had to speak to a room full of 10,000 people. And that was probably the only time in my life where I've ever been so nervous. Like you're scared,
yeah,
like everything in your head is playing over and over and over. And so I also like want to give him grace. Like that was probably his first time being
yeah.
in that situation. And maybe he just didn't choose the right words.
And
So
well, like, and I maybe a hot take, but I do think to the point, right? Like his experience is an immigrant experience, and that
right,
and that isn't necessarily a historically Black experience in America. Like that,
right,
right? Like that is also like I think he also deserves grace because like his experience is so different than like I'm
right,
imagining all three of us whose families were enslaved and brought here,
right.
right? And so like I think like yes, I agree he should have been more specific and maybe maybe could have like phrased a bit differently in some ways like like and also like I can't tell him that he's wrong as
Right.
well
I
for
think I think that for a lot of Black folks, and not to speak for them, but I think that for a lot of people, the issue is not necessarily what Shabuzi said, because I don't think that people think that he had ill
yeah
intent.
like malice
I
Right.
think
simply
I
yeah
Right.
don't I don't think that
but
people
like
think that Shabuzi was erasing, the traumatic history of Black people and the forced labor of enslaved people. But I think people are sick of it not being common sense at this point.
Sentence. Yeah.
I think that
it's
people
just
are
yeah
like, how many times do we need to explain this?
well and
Uh,
and how often will a non-black person hear that and
mm,
then take that and
and
not
run
think
with it.
about
Yeah.
and not about like the history of Black
Yeah.
folks in America
You're
as well
right.
too
You
so
are right. You're right.
Because that sentence that he said at the Grammys was everywhere. Like I deleted the video once people were really upset, and I was like,
I
let me
saw
take this
that.
shit down. But like the video's everywhere, and so there
yeah
are non-black people who are, yeah, immigrants built this country, and so there are
yeah
black folks being
they're like
like, this
yeah
motherfucker,
Hamilton
No,
go
this
on
son of
no,
a
Hamilton
bitch.
it's like people like if you're like yeah
no.
if you're like go on Hamilton
Y'all know
exactly
how I feel about
yeah
that man. Oh, I cannot stand that
yeah
man.
yeah yeah
Oh,
yeah
but anyway, I don't want to. I don't
Okay,
want to.
well, now that we have y'all ready to make a playlist of all the bops and maybe a I hate this playlist of all the bad speeches you hated, we gonna take one last break. We'll come back with your favorite segment. It's Spam No One Pams.
All right, y'all. So we're just going to jump into our yes ma'ams and our no ma'am pams. And for those who are new here, yes ma'am and no ma'am is where we ultimately give people flowers or we hit them with them. And so this week, for my yes ma'am, want to give a shout out to Channing Gerald Joseph's TED Talk about how Black queer culture shaped history. That TED Talk was so well done. And I have to say this as someone who has done a TED Talk. To be able to put so much information into 12 minutes is very, very, very hard. And how succinct and how beautiful the narrative was that he framed around the things, talking about the Harlem Renaissance and all of the things connected to that in relation to how that has shaped a lot of our culture and the ways that we think about entertainment. It's just beautiful. It was just so I'm literally going to put the link in the description box for y'all to watch it, but it is probably one of the best, second to Kimberly Crenshaw's TED Talk. I think it's one of the best TED Talks that I've ever seen in relation to storytelling. And so I just really wanted to say shout out to them for all of the work that went into making that TED Talk, but also for making something so tangible and something so I think important for the moment now. So I just wanted to give them that. My No Man Pam is kind of it's twofold. It's kind of talking about my yes ma'am, but also talking about my no ma'am. People who think not talking about Black history means it never happened. You can keep denying that Black history is not Black history, but that doesn't mean that Black history is not Black history. And I say that to say for, all of the things that this administration is trying to do, let's take away DEI and let's not talk about Black History Month and let's change the words. Let's do that. Baby, Black history is going to still be here, even if you don't want to acknowledge it. And so, for those of you who are out here, and again, I'm pretty sure none of them are over here listening to this show, but if this clip makes it their way, I want you to know that even just me talking about this and us being on this platform, this is Black history. My book is Black history. My TED Talk is Black history. You're never going to get away from the idea that we are literally walking dreams of our ancestors, and you just gonna have to stay mad, sis. You just gonna have to be mad. Kevin, what are your yes ma'ams and your no ma'am pams for this week?
So my no ma'am, I'm gonna go first with, so I can end on a good note. Is to just all the white non-Texan people on social media who refuse to get their noses out of the Texas Senate race because they can't
Mm,
help but to attack Jasmine Crockett because how dare a
Mm.
black woman feel like aiming for a higher office? Because here's my issue. Jasmine Crockett, and as someone who posts the news and who posts congressional hearing clippings all of the time, when I tell you, I scrolled back the other day to posts of mine that include Jasmine Crockett from 7 months ago, and every comment is, "Yes, Queen, we love this. Oh, Crockett for president." But the
yeah,
moment that a black woman decides that she wants to strive for something bigger, y'all must humble her.
tore
It
her
is just
apart. Yep.
something
Mm.
I just don't, because again, if Jasmine Crockett decided to run for re-election in the House and stay her ass in the House this year, and she decided to stay exactly where she has been, speaking truth to power, the way that people love, people would not be talking about her. But because she
Mhm.
decided to run for higher office, people decided that they had to go after her. And this is what I have said
Mm.
for a while would happen to Michelle Obama. Because every 4 years, people are like, Michelle Obama just needs to run for president. She needs to come save us. I'm like, the moment Michelle Obama decides to run for president is the moment the world hates her,
Yep.
because y'all just cannot handle it. I can't think of which one of my friends on Thread said this, but someone said like they warned about this with Jasmine Crockett. They were like they're gonna yes girl her over a cliff one day, and that's exactly what happened.
Mm,
Mhm. Mhm.
And my yes ma'am is to Julia Stratton. Julia Stratton is the lieutenant governor of Illinois, and she is currently running for Senate in Illinois, and she is just one of the most qualified, badass, progressive candidates running for office anywhere in this country right now.
mm,
And
mm.
we have billionaires who are trying to buy that election in Illinois. So if anyone is listening to this and has a friend who knows a friend whose cousin's proctologist dentist lives in Illinois, I just want to let you know, to let them know, to let their friend know, to vote for Julia Stratton.
Okay.
I know that's right. Yes. Come on
I'm
now.
like, I don't know who she is, but I will. I will know who Julia Stratton is. Trust me. Mother
Um,
will be on the Googles.
you gonna learn today. Today
Yes.
we'll both learn together. I love that for
Amen.
us.
Amen. Yes.
My yes ma'am is, there's an article that's out in Out magazine, which I don't typically read, but like I'll read this article, and a video from about the drag queen that's discussing the magnification of Nicki Minaj. And I must say, this is the citizen journalism that I love. Like,
Mm,
I
mm-hmm.
want the detailed accounts of her descent into madness. I'm so sad about it because I'm like, ugh, why?
She's poor. That's why.
But detail, like it's going, it's going from 7 years ago, her speaking out against Trump, saying where she proclaimed herself, like her words, coming here as a legal immigrant at 5 years old. This is horrible what we're doing to these families. To now doing what she's doing is like, it is just an arc, and I appreciate the people who are documenting that arc and sharing that arc so people can understand a bit more as to how we got here, and like make sense of the nonsense of this all. So yes, I'm into that. My no man Pam is also to Miss Onika as well too, because the descent just keeps going further and further and further, and I just continually cannot fathom how you build your fan base of queer and trans folks just to end up tearing them down. Like, I mean, I know how it happens because it happens all the time. So it's very shocked, not surprised. But like, damn, girl, like you really just can't help yourself. Like you're really just so in bed with the administration about it, and it's heartbreaking to see.
I've said this before. I don't know if I said it online or if I said it on one of the shows, but I will say I want to know how much is like lining their pockets. Like I want to like, and I'm when I say them, I'm talking about Nikki. I'm talking about the Kardashians. I'm talking about who's the baby with the 3 braids, Lil Wayne. I'm thinking about Snoop Dogg. I'm thinking about all of those people who have like who who's danced with the right. Like I want to know what the number was so that way I can, and I'm not saying like the number is enough for me to go, okay, I can see it, because I think it's all trash. But what I'm just saying is like I would love to know what that number is so that way I can just go, that's why. That actually makes a lot of sense of why they would. Because right now what it's giving me is, with the fact that her mansion was literally about to be taken from her, baby, it's telling me that you need to be shopping down to the Dollar General, right? Like Kmart can't even help you at this point.
You're saying insufficient funds.
Yeah. Like, and I'm not trying to make fun of poor people. I'm just saying, what I'm saying is, ultimately, baby, at one point you were the doll, and you said you had all this money, and now they're about to take your mansion away from you down to the Beverly Hills or Malibu or whatever it is, and now you're in bed with Trump. So 2 + 2 = 5 in this equation for me. Like the math is telling me that you ain't got no money, and hey, and you got a husband that you're trying to keep out of jail. You got a brother who you're trying to get out of jail. Do your thing, girl. Prayers down to you and anybody else who's still supporting her. Prayers down. But anyway, all that to be said, send us your thoughts, feedback, and emails. Jesus Christ on a bike. To blackfatfempod@gmail.com. You can also send us your thoughts via social medias by interacting with us on the Instagrams and the threads. We are also on Spill. I don't know how much longer we'll be on TikTok, but I will tell you that we are down to Spill. So if you want to interact with us over there, you can. But anyway, Black Fat Femme Pod, that is where we are. That is where we hang out. Kevin, where can our listeners find you when your stuff is not going viral?
You can find me everywhere at Here's Why Kevin. I'm on Upscroll, Threads, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. My Facebook is now up. I don't know about that. Don't go find me over there. But the number one way to support me, honestly, is to go over to YouTube. I interview politicians all the time, and I do really great interviews that people don't know exist because I suck at promoting my stuff. I don't like to sell people. So I just remind them, I'm like, my YouTube is monetized. It's free. Just go subscribe. Just go watch
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I trust me, honey. I get it. It feels weird to be like, the world's on fire, but also please go support me and buy my shit. Like it can be weird to do that. But yes, please go, and we will include your YouTube link in our description box for those of you who are interested and want to subscribe. Queen Joho, where can the dolls find you, baby?
I'll just say, Kevin, you definitely have an additional subscriber here, and I'll be sharing it as well too. Of course, friends, you can find me at Joho Daniels across all socials. My website, johodaniels.com. And if not there, you will find me begging people to stop going to San Juan, Puerto Rico, or Hawaii for the sake of vacation, without understanding what the native folks want from you as a potential tourist, which could be nothing. Like maybe just don't go, babe. You can maybe you don't maybe the and the people who are like, well, I want to support them. how about you just send them money?
Yeah.
Do you have to go to support them?
Mm-hmm.
Could you just like say, hey, I'm gonna send a donation? I just want people to think about like I get that you want to have your quote unquote money is worth, but like you actually don't have to go. You can actually just support them from afar.
All that to be said, if you want to find me somewhere trying to be a better person, find me on socials at Dr. John Paul. You can also go down to www.drjohnpaul.com where you can learn more about my consulting, my books, Catch It, plural, and where I will be in the coming weeks. I want to shout out and say that if you are in the LA area, please come down to the Elysian Theater on February 21st. Your girl will be getting drunk off of Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper, baby, is good and nice. Doo-doo-doo. Dr. Pepper, baby, is good and nice. Doo-doo-doo. I will be down getting drunk off of Dr. Pepper for Drunk Black History. I will also be talking about Polly Murray and the impact that they had on Black history, but also queer Black history. And if you want to see me on Hulu, Who Am I Meant to Be, or Who I Am Meant to Be, you can go ahead and watch that episode. It is up and it is free if you have a Hulu subscription. And if you need mine, just let me know. I'll send you over a login and you can go ahead and watch it, and engage with all the things. But it's now streaming over there. This has been another show. Stay Black, Fat, Feminine, Fabulous, and remember what, Joho?
We may not be a cup of tea, girl, but who cares, bitch? People are being snatched in the streets. Go fight for your rights. God damn.
I love us for real. I'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye. The Black Fat Femme podcast is executive produced by Joey Pat and Dr. John Paul.
All content related to the show is edited by Chris Rogers.
This has been a podcast by iHeartMedia and Dr. John Paul, LLC.
The Black Fat Femme podcast,
where all the intersections of identity are celebrated, honey.
I know that's right.